what are those three qualities that you think really has made the most successful mentees that you've had?
So having a sense that whatever advice I'm giving you, you end up thinking about it. Again, you don't have to act on it, but thought about it, came back, we progressed. You're bringing me challenging ideas. We grow together. You pick up on new things. You ask more questions. Sure, we can be talking for years. I had a mentor and I didn't execute on it. And he literally, after 3 or 4 meetings, he said, I don't think we need to keep seeing each other because you're not picking up on anything I'm telling you. He was a very, very organized individual. And his methodology and his feedback was all about order and structure, note keeping, and how to navigate. Again, Microsoft was all about order. And he was
He was the
like,
epitome of the order.
oh yeah, epitome. Like everybody, like I had VPs recommend you gotta have him teach you how to do it, and I worked with him for a while, and he dumped me because what can you do? I am not, an organized note keeping individual, and I have other ways of doing things. And after a while, he said this doesn't work. And for years later, we still were in good, social relationships, but we both agreed that probably him being my mentor is not the right thing because I'm just not catching on his feedback, and for him it was a waste of time.
How do you start to think through a customer problem like that? Because it's so big, right?
Okay.
And how do you start to break that down, right? And say, okay, here's where our value is, and here's how we can attack that problem for
Yeah.
you and solve what you're looking for.
Almost everybody need to have a sense of empathy, customer empathy, right? Customer empathy or any type of empathy is the ability to look at a situation from the other point of view, like third person. The more you can put yourself in the shoes of the customer and think about how they're serving their customers, how they, again, in the right context, make more money, be more successful, cure more disease, whatever the context is of success is between your customer and their customers. That empathy is remarkably powerful because you need to make that leap and take yourself completely out of the equation and say, it's not how I'm going to make more money or be more successful or close shop early and retire, or whatever the definition of success is, but how my customer is going to be able to do that with their customers and down the line as far as you can see, because that's your value proposition.
And even within the interview itself, do you think, because popped in my head, do you think you can even be as bold, say as a, would you as a hiring manager respect that, especially out of like a 20-year-old who says, Doron, what problems are you trying to solve? And then let me see how I can tell you where my skills fit into that.
I've been asked that several times. I love that question. You see, I don't have a problem talking for a few minutes about my problem. I have lots of problems, literally, that I don't have a solution for. Process problems, technological problems, overcoming objections problems, doing a lot with less budget. I have a lot of problems, and I have no problem carving one problem with this and just describe it to you. And let's think about it together. I think asking a form of that question, what's your biggest problem? What would be a definition of success? How can I be most impactful in 90 days? If I would do the 30, 60, 90 days success, if I join your team, how would that look like? Variance on me being effective in solving your problems. That's also true, again, when you sell to a customer. An interview is you selling yourself. Help me understand what would enable my product to solve your problems.
So to close us out, Doron, I always love to ask this question. I think it's really interesting, fascinating. But if you were in college today, knowing what you know now, what would you over-index on? Is it networking? Is it learning how to do those social maps within your school? Is it, what is it, going to more classes? What would be that? Have more fun. We've had people say that as well. What would be, that thing for you that you think someone should be doing right now?
So it actually is a conversation we're talking about, and I'm going to quote my wife because she's right about that. I would over-index on soft skills, people skills, and everything that has to do with human interaction. Because if you look back at everything I said for the past 45 minutes, the definition of success is almost always with a human factor: customers, managers, peers, other managers in the organization, so on. Almost none of it. Again, I'm a little bit oversimplifying, but I'm assuming you're good at what you do, but you don't have to over-index in being the number one in that specific skill, whatever you are. If you're splitting hair between number 2 and number 3 in the class and so on, and you're over-indexing on that, unless you're shooting for, and I actually can't think of an example where that will pay off, because even if you're going for an astronaut plan, they're still going to be looking at your human skills. They're not going to hire the best whatever engineer if you can't get along with people, because at the end of the day, pick whatever top team you have, they're going to have to work as a team. So I'd say soft skills, project management, anything that has to do with team interactions, empathy. If you have optional courses that are cross-discipline, that can open your eyes to ask questions on nearby disciplines that are not just in your line of work, do that, because expanding horizons, as opposed to trying to master everything, which is probably boiling the ocean. Don't try to master everything, but expanding horizons, and being able to participate in conversations that are in near fields, and you can ask questions. You don't have to give the answers. You can ask the questions in a field that's near to you, and have an expert on the other field engage and say, "Oh, I'm so glad you asked that, because that sounds like you know what you're asking. Let me tell you, what you actually need is an engine of this size and blah blah blah." And be like, "Good, I'm so glad I found you." My belief is that if I was in college now, and definitely what I'm going to tell my kids, landing your first job and so on, yes, you need to be on top of AI tools, the latest and greatest in your field. You shouldn't. Those are basic. Those are table stakes. But you want to rise above the crowd. The rising above the crowd, in my opinion, is the soft skills and the people and the empathy, which I don't see automation and tools closing anytime soon. We still don't have AI doing the sales for us, or even an interview is a sale, right?